Welcome to the magical world of solar. In this session, we're going to talk about how you hook up your PV system to the service panel that's connected to your utility. My name is Jay Warmke. I'm with Blue Rock Station, and this is a service panel. How do you do a service panel? Anyway, we're going inside the service panel. One thing to note, each of these service panels has an amp rating. This particular panel is rated for 100 amps. So that means if I have 100 amp service coming from the utility, there's a thing known as the 120% rule within solar, meaning I could come in with as much as a 20 amp fuse here. Correspondingly, if it's a 200 amp system with 200 amp service from the utility, I could come in with 40 amps. This would be referred to as a load side connection. Now, what we're looking to do when we come into a service panel is you want to hook your system in as far away from the main disconnect as possible. So if this is the main disconnect on your service panel, we're going to hook our PV system in this location on the bus bar. So let's take this off and see what it looks like inside. Now, the first thing to remember is you're working with live electricity in most situations. In this classroom environment, we're not, thank goodness, but in your situation out in the field, you're going to be dealing with live electricity coming in through the main. So make sure to turn off your main disconnect and test the panel to make sure no power is present before working in the service panel. Okay, let's take a look at the various parts of the service panel. We have the main disconnect. That's where your connection is to the utility. This particular panel is not connected, obviously. Then we have the bus bar, the power bus bar. And the bus bar, in this case, in a residential situation, is going to be a split phase, single phase. So half of the power, 120 volts, is split on each side of the bus bar. We then have a neutral bus bar. That's where your neutral connections are going to be made. Those are actually the grounded conductors coming in, so they will be the white wire. And then we have a ground bus bar. The ground bus bar is where your equipment grounding will be connected. Also, your ground rod or your grounding electrode will be connected to this ground bus bar, as is shown in this illustration. We then have the PV array connection point. That will be a double pole breaker. And you can see the red and the black hot wires are connected to this particular breaker. In a real situation, the area on the bus bar between the incoming power sources, the main and the PV connection point, will be filled up with breakers that lead off into outgoing branch circuits. Okay, remember when you're wiring up a service panel, you are working with live electricity. This will kill you dead, so be very, very careful.
You can find more information on living sustainably in our unsustainable world at BlueRockStation.com.